We're going to be on Westfield for this one, guys, in the T54 lightweight, and this game is going to be pretty good, man. Westfield is always one of those maps where I tend to have really good games just because there's so much foliage to use as a light tank, right? You have so many bushes, and I don't know, man, if you understand this map, likely you're going to have a really good game because lights just tend to do well on this map. It's just the way it's designed, right? And I'm not sure what happened to my Marks of Excellence mod. For some reason, it's not showing for this replay. I even tried to reload it, and I can't get it to show. But this will be the 3-mark game in the lightweight, guys. So what I like to do on this map is take the bush that Steel Guts always takes. Again, I've never seen anyone else make this play, even up to this point. Watching this, if you're watching this video now, I have never ever seen anybody else sit here except Steel Guts. So I like to come to this push. The reason for it is because you spot people like the TVP. And I even told people at the beginning, I said, I'm going to this area, I'm going to spot this area of the map, right? E0, F0, G0, you know, as these people come in, and these TVPs are like, what's going on, man? They're getting lit, right? And that's the thing with this spot is people don't realize how easily they can be lit when you sit in this area with CVS, right? So what I'm going to do now is approach this area of the map. I like to do this now, man. I get really fancy with these trees and bushes here, where I will knock this tree, this one, eventually I'll knock this one too. And then I like to pull into these trees and try and spot this corner. You could do this effectively, guys. It's very easy to do and stay in the foliage, I'll call it, even with a light tank that's fat, like the T54 lightweight. Like, you can do it, man. So, again, you come to this bush, you spot, again, E0, F0, G0, this area here, and people will be able to get those shots. Mediums will get it from over here, and if you have tank destroyers sitting here, they will get the shots as well. That's why this area is so nice, in my opinion. And then you can pull forward carefully, and look, Obsidian spotted, Scorpion G is spotted, and the Obsidian kind of has trollish armor. I know Skill for LTU said the Obsidian's armor is not that great, but it's the way it's angled, man. It's like really tough to pen. I don't know. It's just, you'll find, guys, that armor profiles tend to not always be true to what they say on paper, right? Like, it really just depends on how the armor is angled and what the effective armor is. So when you're looking at armor profiles, it's something you really have to pay attention to, and the Obsidian is just kind of made like that. However, you can see this guy was sitting in the open, so eventually those shots are going to go in, and yeah, man, he goes down. The lightweight ends up pushing here. I kind of want to adjust to this, but I know at this point, like, if I leave here, then the Scorpion G is not going to stay lit anymore. So I like being here because you're kind of in the middle of everything, right? You can spot people in this area, you can spot people over here, and even if the lightweight comes in, I don't think I spotted him, but you never know. Actually, I think I did get some of the assist, but that could have been on the Scorpion when I was reading it here. But you're just in arguably the best spot you can be in when you're in this area, and that's why I try my best to stay here as long as I possibly can. I've explained this to you guys in another video, that I just love to stay in this area because you have the advantage here, right? You really do. Like, I find that from the southwest spawn, you always have the advantage on Westfield and kind of spotting this area. Not this area necessarily, but this entire middle portion of the map, because you can get to this bush line, if you want to call it that. I make my own bush line with the trees, and it's just the way that the angle of the map works, right? If you try and do it from the other side, like, there's just not an easy way to approach in here, in my opinion. So we'll kind of move faster through this video. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, guys, and you'll see the Borisk and the Char start to push into me here. And I even back up again another second just to make sure, like, I'm keeping these guys lit as long as I possibly can, right? And then once I'm lit, I run, man. I run and I do my little wiggle jiggle, you know? And you get out of there. I like to call it the Steel Guts slalom, because this is his trademark almost. You know, Steel loves to go back and forth and do the slalom, I call it, man. So that's what you want to do, guys. Whenever you're running away, just be very unpredictable. Don't run in a straight line, because it's really easy for people to just right-click, left-click you. That's what I call it, like the auto lock, man. People will just right-click, left-click, and shoot you if you're running straight away, right? You want to move laterally and try and, you know, fool people. And The reason why a lot of people hate wheelies is because wheelies can do that like on the fly, man. They do this like so well, and no one can hit them. And then on top of that, you also have people that don't have great internet connections, or they're playing on like EU server from North America, or America, right? They're trying, instead of playing on the NA server, right? Actually, I think now they don't even have East and West, right? They just have the Central American server or North Central American server. You guys know what I'm talking about, man. And they're trying to play on EU. Like I know some people from this country will play on EU. You have the ping, right? And dude, forget it. Like you're already, I don't know, a quarter of a second behind or half a second behind, and trying to hit those things is like you're never going to hit it, right? So that's why a lot of people hate wheelies. But in wheelies, it's especially the case because you could do that really, really well. The lightweight's pretty quick. It's got really good power. I think they call it specific power. I just call it like power to weight ratio, whatever, man. But it's pretty torquey, and it moves pretty quick. I think the T54 lightweight has a top speed of like 70, 71. So you would be fine, trying to maneuver this thing very quickly when you're running away from people. But always do that. Doesn't matter the light tank, guys. Just do your best to always, wiggle out. Just do the wiggle jiggle, man, all the time. And you'll stay alive. You'll stay alive. Trust me. It's... especially if you're doing it in an even 90, like a smaller tank as well. So always do that. But anyway, we're going to come back to this area with the Scorpion, guys. At this point, I'm thinking that this could be a loss, right? The North has kind of won. I mean, they've done a pretty good job up here. But once we lose the south side of this map, it just really, really concerns me, man. Whenever the south is lost, or I should say the east, and then subsequently the south, if you're on the southwest spawn. I just do not like losing the east side of this map, because when you lose the east side of the map, I feel like it's very hard to get vision over there safely. Right, because it means you lose this entire area with all the trees and everything, right? So now you have to try and sit on this hill, and at this point, I'm just trying to find something to do. I'm trying to keep this WZ lit, but you can hardly even poke up on this hill without getting spotted, without getting hit, and you just have to try and find something to do. I don't know what else to do at this point, so I think I start running away or trying to get shots into the WZ, and then eventually I'm going to help the North, which is rare for me. I don't really understand how the North is supposed to be played, if I'm being honest, because I usually don't play hold down mediums and heavies, so I prefer to stay over on the east side and just poke these ridge lines and see if I can spot anybody. But the Scorpion G is over here, the WZ, and these guys are just kind of keeping me from really doing anything here. I hate to say it, man. Like, I'm trying to see what I can do, but you end up just poking this ridge line, and that's about it. So we'll fast forward a little bit until I decide to kind of make a play here. I'm going to go try and help the 1-2-1. At this point, I think what I can do, because I see him kind of retreating, I think we might be able to push into this K91, and I'm telling people, like, I'm not really sure what else I can do here. Like, I'm just trying to find something to do, right? And this is why I don't say I'm not a Unicom player, right, guys? I'm not one of these people that's perfect at the game, and I just don't... When it gets to a situation like this, and the areas of the map that I normally go to are taken, if you want to call it that, I'm not really sure how I can play. And it's about adapting, right? This is what I always tell you guys. If you're a good light tank driver, you have to adapt to what's going on the map, regardless if you're comfortable doing it or not. So the 1-2-1 here says, T54, can you do a run through like A1, A3, whatever? And the 1-2-1 is ready for that shot, so he says, I can give him a shot, he's up high. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go. And what I do, guys, this is important. So what I do is, I know where the K91 is sitting, right? The 1-2-1 confirmed it for me, and I also had the sixth sense to kind of give me an idea. If he's sitting right here, what I'm going to do is put these trees and bushes in between me and that area. Does that make sense? This is really important because this is game mechanic stuff. So I come up and around like this, and then as I approach the K91, I do it like with these trees directly in front of where he's going to be. This way I know I'm dark up until I get to this point, and you'll see how this pays off because the 1-2-1 is ready for the shot, right? He's sitting waiting for the shot. He's unspotted because he's kind of in the tree there. And we spot the K91 before we even get past these trees, right? CVS, man. I'm telling you guys, like, these things are so important. So This is an important play. Always do this. If you can, always put foliage in between you and enemies that you're approaching whenever you can, man. Prokhorovka is obviously the biggest example of this, guys. You have an entire bush line. Just run through the bush line, right? But you've seen my videos on that. You still have to be careful doing that. And now we're at a point where I can just kind of use mobility. I'm going to try and spot the WZ, but I'm a terrible driver. I'm like Lemming Rush. I do this all the time, man. I just run into stuff because I'm always looking elsewhere on the map. Don't do this, man. But again, like I'm looking over here to see if the WZ can have shots at me, and I'm not paying attention to where I'm driving. So we're going to keep advancing here, guys. It's now 12-9, but that was probably one of the most important plays that I think won us this game, is because we're able to now win this entire portion of the map. And though I tell you guys the East is usually the most important, in this situation, it pays off because we've won a lot of the map, and now I can come down, put pressure on the WZ. He actually tracks me here. He bounces me. And this is what the lightweight can do, right? It's Russian, like Russian tanks are trollish, man. That's why I love the T54 lightweight. And then I'm going to come around, hit the WZ from the other side. STRV and 121, I guess, are cleaning up these other people. Actually, 121 goes down to the Borisk, and now we advance. Scorpion is here. And I told people I got the mark. And then Borisk is going to rush me here. I'm just going to take a ram from this guy, because at this point I know that I can do that. With the HP I have, I'm just going to let this guy ram me. You know, I don't want him, you know, reloading again. Like, if the guy's going to go for a ram, I'm going to go for the ram. The lightweight's a pretty big tank. The Borisk is smaller. I will actually do more damage than he will to me. So that's the game, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it helps you out on Westfield, because this was a really close game. And for a couple moments there, I didn't think we were going to win this one, and I had no idea what I wanted to do in this game. But luckily, we're able to help the 121. We spot this, what the heck was it up there? The K91 up in this area, like A3. We're able to clean up the K91, and then from there, we just kind of flank the rest of the team, right? When you surround enemies, it's hard for them to do much. So people are coming this way, people are coming this way, and we end up getting the win here. So that's all. Let's get into the end plates, and I will let you guys go. So this was my third mark game, as I said, first class, and we get this spotter badge, right? 4385 spotting. We had 6 spots, 5 module damage. We actually blocked 250, 1487 damage, and 2 kills, guys. So again, I'm running this thing with CVS in the scouting slot. Let me make sure the camera doesn't block this. Low noise exhaust, and I was running it with Bounty Optics, but a CVS in the scouting slot. This is huge, guys. Always run CVS in the scouting slot. If you're new to my channel, it's very important to run CVS in the scouting slot on maps where you're going to be scouting, right? I know it kind of sounds stupid, but like if you get Tundra, you don't need to be running CVS, right? If you get Abbey, you don't need to be running CVS. If you get Berlin, you don't need to be running CVS. But on maps like Westfield, Prokhorovka, Malinovka, Murovanka, these are always the examples I use. The maps that end in KA, you probably want to run CVS, right? And then Westfield. But I always tell you guys this, man. Like, run CVS in the dang scouting slot. Please do it. You will be much better off, all right? So here's the team score, and I know I probably will spoil this in the title, but do you guys notice anything about the team score? Do you notice any names from my unanonymizer mod that stick out to you? Docky was in the 121, and this is probably why we won the game, because my man did 7,100 damage, and he's a really good player, right? Like, this guy is arguably one of the best players to play World of Tanks. I know everyone can argue that, but in my eyes, he is up there with like the best of the best. And doing 7,100 damage is certainly going to prove that point. But it's nice of him to come into the chat and just say, "Hey, man, can you see how people, even the best players, arguably some of the best players to ever play this game, they're nice about the way they say, 'Hey, I'm ready for a shot. Do you think you can spot the K91?' Instead of getting in the chat and saying, you know, shit or light and stuff like that, people will instead be kind like that. And this is why I still, to this day, don't understand why average players have to come into the chat and be so rude to light tanks. That's why I made my channel the way I made my channel, right? Because I want you guys to see from just a slightly above average player's perspective of how, in Steel Guts as well, right? How people still crap on us all the time, man. And all we do is play light tanks. And I would say arguably we're above average at playing light tanks, right? People are going to do this, man, and I want you guys to be comfortable playing your lights. I'm so tired of people crapping on light tanks in the chat that even yesterday someone was trying to rip on an AMX 1375 on Roomberg, telling him his spotting was awful, and I called him out. I said, explain. I put in the chat, explain. And then he's trying to go off like, oh, he's not spotting. I'm like, dude, it's Roomberg, and there's nothing to spot right now. In fact, I was an idiot in my EBR Hotchkiss, lost all my hit points at the beginning of the game, ran back, and I was camping because I was a one-shot. I had like 150 HP left, man. And he's the only one in that city portion of the map trying to spot. And this guy's calling him out. You suck at spotting. I don't let people get away with this stuff, man. I really don't. I'll call them out in the chat, man. And then this guy kept messaging me, like, shut up, clown bot, and saying stuff like that, man. To me, like, private message, guys. So I like to call people out. I really, really do. Don't do this. Don't do what I do, man. As baboons, we're not supposed to do this. But I like to test people. I like to challenge people and sometimes call them out because I'm sick of people doing that, man. I really, really am. So anyway, guys, Daki was in this game. It was a pleasure to play with this guy. I dropped into his stream and told him, thanks for the 3 mark, man, because you know, you doing 7,100 damage, I think helped me get the 3 mark, man, and we got it, man. I couldn't believe it. I started at 90% on this vehicle, and within like 30 games, guys, because normally I would hover around 90%, except I was actually trying to 3 mark this thing over the weekend, I'll call it, but my days off are Tuesday and Wednesday. I was actually trying to 3 mark this thing. I went from like 89% and some change all the way up to 95.21% in one day. So sometimes you just get really lucky like this. The same thing happened in my even 90 where I hover in like the high 80s, and one day I just was getting like 4,000 combined every game, bang, 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 and I 3 marked it. And then I went back down again. So sometimes there is some luck involved, but I think a lot of it is also you playing extremely consistently and getting a good map rotation as well. So I think that's all I wanted to discuss in this one. If you guys watch Daki a lot, you know, feel free to drop in and just tell him, hey, Whirls made a video. If he wants to drop by and check out the video, that would be really, really cool, man. But I did message him and just say, hey, man, great game. I appreciate you doing, basically I said, appreciate you being in that game because I think you helped me 3 mark this vehicle. So you never know who's going to be in the game, guys. You don't, obviously he's anonymized. Always be nice to everyone, right? And that's what we do as baboons, but I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I think it's a really, really good video to show you how you can make things work on Westfield and how you need to adjust to certain situations that are going to happen on the map. So that's all. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you for the next one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.